So everybody, thank you so very much for making some time available today for the Copilot webinar. I know we have advertised this far and wide across LinkedIn, and I want to take this opportunity to set the record straight. Marina and I are not Copilot experts. I think we would rather want to be called digital enablement experts who really understand how to get people on board and enable people with the technology that we're implementing in their space. And with that, we are passionate about Copilot and with the technology that's being introduced, because we believe that it's one of the main things that will enable people in their professional lives. So that is just quickly setting the record straight. But without further ado, let's then jump into what we'll be discussing today. So just looking quickly at our table of content, we've essentially structured our webinar in 3 portions, where the first portion looks at a bit of a tell you about Copilot. So what is Copilot all about? How can it benefit your business and the efficiency thereof? Then we'll go into a show you of Copilot. In our show you phase, we're going to highlight a bit how we can use Copilot in the day in the life of, in this case, HR. But we want you to please apply your creativity and your imagination as we go through on how you can just really use the art of the possible in your day-to-day environment. And then we're going to have some use cases available that we can share afterwards. And then finally, there's a let's explain how can Mint implement Copilot in your environment to make it stick. So that will be the make it stick portion of our webinar. So today our presenters will be myself and Marina. I am Nicola Bezaidenhout. I'm a digital enablement consultant and team lead in our space, specifically looking at Copilot as well and making sure that we really do bring something to market that helps our employees and really gets the productivity of our teams up and running and in place. So on the screen with me, you'll see Marina has turned on her camera. She is also in the digital enablement space. I'm not going to introduce her too much. I will leave that to her. And she will take you through the tell you portion of the webinar. But just before I officially hand over to Marina, because she's going to tell you all about the cool stuff and introduce this to you, there will be a quick poll on our screen just to get a bit of a better understanding of where you are at with generative AI, and are you aware of it? Do you use it? I'm sure Claire will administer that for us as well. So in the meantime, Marina, then I'm going to hand over to you for now.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Nicola. Just want to get the poll out of the way here on my end, and then let's jump into it. So like Nicola's mentioned, my name is Marina de Villiers. I'm in the digital enablement space at Mint, and passionate about helping our customers see technology differently and realizing how it can help them with their daily work. So I'm going to jump right into it by telling you what Copilot for Microsoft 365 is. And yeah, so the next slide is about in the past, over the years, business people have relied on personal assistants and secretaries to handle administrative tasks, such as drafting correspondence, creating presentations, analyzing data, generating content, and then scheduling and summarizing meetings. However, with the increasing pressure to produce information faster and stay competitive in our respective industries, humans have been unable to keep up. Additionally, due to current economic pressures, businesses have been looking at ways to minimize overheads, which means decision makers and business professionals are forced to do these administrative tasks and the busy work themselves. Luckily, we are in the age of AI and have smart technology to help us out. So with Copilot for Microsoft 365, the future of productivity is here now to take care of the repetitive day-to-day admin or busy work so you can focus on the productive and value-adding work today. Think of Copilot as your Microsoft, or think of Copilot for Microsoft 365 as your AI-powered assistant working alongside you, helping you with various tasks related to your work, such as writing, editing, researching, scheduling, and more. Copilot can help you to be more productive at work by saving you time and effort, to generate text, content, and insights for you in seconds based on your input and preferences. You can use Copilot to write emails, create presentations, analyze data, schedule meetings, send reminders, and summarize information. Enhance your creativity and skills with Copilot by providing you with intelligent suggestions, feedback, and coaching tips to help you improve your writing, communication, and presentation skills. Copilot can also help you to explore new ideas, perspectives, and possibilities for your work. Copilot supports your collaboration and communication and helps you to connect with your team members, clients, and partners. Copilot can help you to create and share content, data, and insights across Microsoft 365 apps, such as Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook, Teams, and Loop components. In a nutshell, Copilot is the Microsoft brand for incorporating generative AI into Microsoft experiences. Copilot for Microsoft 365 is seamlessly integrated into the apps we use daily, helping us to stay in the flow of work and freeing us to focus on the tasks at hand and less on the busy work. Working alongside you, Copilot for Microsoft 365 helps you to unleash creativity, unlock productivity, and up-level skills. Using natural language prompts, you are empowered to do things you've never been able to do before. Now you might be wondering, how is this possible and how does it work? So Microsoft's Copilot for Microsoft 365 combines the power of large language models with your data in the Microsoft Graph, for example, your calendar, your emails, chats, and documents, even meetings, and all the information you have available currently in your Microsoft 360 apps to turn your words into the most powerful productivity tool on the planet. We know a major concern for customers is staying in control of access to business data within your organization. Microsoft 365 Copilot is built on Microsoft's comprehensive approach to security, compliance, privacy, and responsible AI, enabling you to take advantage of the existing Microsoft security, compliance, and privacy solutions available within your tenant that helps you ensure that the right groups and users have access to the data they're supposed to have access to. Copilot for Microsoft 365 comes with commercial data protection, which means your personal and company data is protected. Your chat prompts and responses are discarded. No one at Microsoft can view your data, and your chat data is not used to train the large language models used by the AI. The benefit of incorporating Copilot for Microsoft 365 is taking the busy work out of your day-to-day so that you can focus on the real value-adding productive work. With Copilot for Microsoft 365, you can look forward to an increase in productivity and efficiency, improved collaboration and communication, enhanced creativity and innovation, and a boost in employee satisfaction and engagement. Right, let's look at another poll.
Thank you, Marina. Yes, while we're just quickly sorting out ourselves technically on our side, I think the next poll is asking you how familiar you are before this meeting or Marina's introduction. How familiar were you with Copilot, and what do you understand about it? So I am also just quickly getting the poll out of my way so that I can move on to the next portion of our discussion. So if we move into the show you portion, this is really where we want to do a bit of a simulated day in the life of our fantastic employee Tandi. And I also want to just take this moment to point out that every single picture that you've seen in the presentation thus far has been generated by DALL-E, or Copilot's image generating capability. So that is just something that I wanted to point out as well. Anyway, here you can see Tandi. She is our human resource manager for this initiative. She is really passionate about collaboration and seamless communication with her team, and she really wants to empower her people. And as with all other people that we know in the world of work, she is overwhelmed and swamped with the day-to-day activities of having so much to do and not enough time to get it done in. But we are going to help Tandi with a quick day in the life of. And I want to also, at this stage, highlight that everything that you see from this point forward has been done on the Mint environment. And this is why we have created a video and we're not doing a live demo. The reason for that is, to Marina's point about security and data safety, we do not want to show you information that is personal and secure within our environment and that's related to our customers. So if it does seem like it's a bit fabricated, it might very well have been a made-up scenario specifically for the purposes of this demo. But let's look at Tandi again. So we have our wonderful Tandi, who has so much to do, and in her human resource manager activities, she has to set up some morning meetings to make sure that she starts her day logging into Microsoft Teams. That's her go-to platform for seamless collaboration, where she will open up her team and receive some tasks for the day of what she is supposed to be doing. Then she has to quickly draft a job description for a junior marketing position that she has that she wants to advertise, and we're going to give her the opportunity to do so using Word. And then, of course, once you have appointed people, you need to have an onboarding document, or at least a bit of a presentation, so that people knows what's happening in your space. And we're going to use Copilot for PowerPoint to show you how to do that. And then we'll move on over into the employee diversity analysis for Tandi, where we have created dummy data for a bunch of employees. You will also see the data is in dollar, specifically to highlight that it really is not Mint data that we're working on. And we're going to look at that. She's going to respond to an employee concern in Outlook. And then finally, there will be a bit of a performance feedback meeting that she will have with one of her employees. I want to, at this stage, thank every single person on my team who has contributed to creating this dummy data and who has been real sports about this. So let's move into Tandi's day. She's going to check her morning notifications in Teams. You will see she can access Teams, Copilot directly in Teams, and there she can start to type out her prompt. You will see it gives you the opportunity to look at dummy prompts or generic prompts that you can pull from. So this just helps you to get into the mindset of, how am I actually supposed to use Copilot for this? I am not going to use a dummy prompt. I will type out a prompt, and I'm going to ask you to Copilot to write me a list of all the tasks and activities that I have for today. What it will do now is it's going to scrub through all of my emails, my chats, my meetings, and let me know what I have outstanding for today. Typically, you would not ask Copilot not to include names in your summaries, but because this is a live environment and I also want to protect the security of our teams, I said, please don't tell me who the people are. And you will see that it takes a moment to read through all of my content, and now it gives me an overview of exactly what it is that I have to do for today. In places where I've blanked out the content, it's not because the bullet point is a bit strange, it's because customer information was visible there. I also want to note that Philip is my dad, and I have a check-in with him this afternoon, and he would not mind that his name is written on the screen. So now you can see everything that I have to do is neatly summarized. Something that would have taken me perhaps half an hour to do, Copilot has done momentarily. So I'm going to then say, please now go ahead and summarize my emails for the day so that I don't have to go and read through every single one of them again. And once again, don't include names, which is a bit silly for this prompt, but for the purposes of what we're busy with, that is what we asked. In moments, it's going to summarize our emails, and it will provide us then once again with a bullet pointed list of all of the emails available. I'm only going to show a few of them because after the top two, it became very personal and difficult to scrub out. So I'm just going to move along quickly to our next point in Tandy's day, where she needs to compile a job description in Copilot. As you can see, the Copilot icon is available at the top of your screen where you can interact with it, or in Word, you can also find the Copilot icon on the left of your screen. With everything in Copilot, you will see it provides you these generic prompts that you can start to rely on. I am going to ask it in the body of the text to write me a job description of a junior marketing manager. It takes me a bit quicker to type it when I am not being watched by a crowd. So this is also better just for your case as well. In a matter of moments, Copilot is pulling together a lot of information available. In this case, we limited Copilot's ability to read our data because we do not want it to, in a demo format, give us information that's Mint specific. But in a real environment where Copilot is set up and established for yourself and your use cases, it will also look at the content that is available to this user and use that to draw on the information. In a matter of seconds, you see that we have a job description for this employee. At the bottom of my screen, I've decided I'm not happy with the requirements that you've given me, the responsibilities, and I want you to expand on it, please, Copilot. So I'm going to say, expand on the responsibilities of this role. What it will do now, once I have hit enter or send, it will take a minute to quickly update everything and to rewrite the job description. You will see that Copilot is also kind to us people who do make spelling mistakes every now and then, or who type faster than we can think. And so it assumes what you mean when you make spelling errors. But anyway, here it goes, and it is now going to quickly rewrite that job description for us, adding more information about the responsibilities. As you can see, it's a bit more detailed in this case, with everything that is on the screen related to this position. I think I've also asked it to include a call to action on this page, and I'm zooming out so that you can see the full extent of everything that Copilot has generated for us. I'm not sure how long this would typically take someone to write up, but let's say it's 25 minutes to an hour that someone can save by just quickly relying on Copilot to generate this for them. Copilot also keeps both iterations, so you can flip through and say, I actually wanted the previous one, but in this case, we were happy and we said keep it. Tandy is happy. She can move on to the next stage of her day, and now that's where she needs to draft an employee onboarding presentation. Earlier, I've asked Copilot to look at Mint, the Mint specific website, and give us a company overview that I have generated in Word. I've saved that in our SharePoint environment, and now I am creating a presentation based on that document that I've created. I wish I had a timer so that you can see how quickly Copilot can create a presentation for us based on a Word document. The really cool thing about this is you probably have spent hours putting together the Word document, fine-tuning that already, and now spending an additional amount of hours trying to make it pretty and to put it into PowerPoint almost feels like a waste of time. So what Copilot does is it reads through our document for us, and then it provides us with an excellent, excellent in my opinion, outline of the presentation. It is doing its best. It's cool that it gives you an indication that it is busy thinking, so you do not have to wonder or worry what is happening. But on your screen, you can see, Bob's your uncle, we have a presentation. I'm quickly looking through the presentation in my mind of Tandy, and I am deciding, you know what, actually, I'm not too happy with all of the content, and I'm going to ask it to please add another slide for us about the values of Mint specifically. Now, to all my Minties who are also on this call, you will see that this is actually not a true representation of our values, and that we do have different values than what Copilot believes. And so this means that this is just a good point to highlight that this is Copilot, not autopilot. So as the person who uses Copilot, you are still responsible to actually go through the content that's generated, read through it, make sure that it is applicable to your environment and that it is a true representation of what we have. In the case where Copilot would have been fully integrated and given the opportunity to access all of the information within our tenant, the values would have been accurate, but here it had to do a bit of a guess based on the information available on the website. And so this is where we are at. Now I'm going to go into a feature that's already within the Microsoft space, And this is the designer tool. In PowerPoint, sometimes you have slides that you want to prettify and make a bit better than what you already have. And here you can use the designer tool. It gives you some examples, and you can, in a matter of seconds, go from having no presentation at all to having something that is at least good enough that you can put in front of people. I think around about here, I had to stop myself from regenerating an entire presentation because I get way too excited about this functionality, but that is where we're at. As Tandy, we have to go into the employee diversity analysis now, where she's going to look in Excel at the data. A small requirement for Copilot to do analysis in Excel is that your data needs to be in a table already. So it can't just be a bunch of rows and columns with containing information. It needs to be captured in a table. But as soon as you have it in a table, here you can do some descriptive analytics to start off with. So we're starting off with something simple, asking Copilot to quickly calculate the average age of employees. You cannot see it on the screen, but there is 1,000 entries in this table. So Copilot, in how long did that take us? Quickly scrubbed through all of the information and gave us the average age of employees being 44. Now I'm going to say, but actually I want to know who's our oldest employee. And without having to look through 1,000 items, I can still be busy with some descriptive analytics and find out that our oldest employee, we have a few actually by the age of 65, and these are the people. Depending on your retirement age, this might give Tandy some crucial information about what's happening in a team. And perhaps these people are about to retire and she needs to start making plans for that. Now Tandy wants to have a succession plan in place and she wants to know who are the, let's highlight all of the employees older than 50 for me so that she can know for these employees, we need to start thinking about succession because looking into the future, they may want to retire soon. I don't know, officially, our HR professionals on the call, you know, when you start thinking of succession planning for major roles, and maybe it's not age-based, this is a guess on my side. So there we go. It highlighted, you can see my hands, I'm not touching anything. It highlighted for us the employees older than 50 right there on our screen. Now I want to know, we have a bonus structure in our environment. Quickly sort the employees from the biggest to the smallest bonus for me. For whatever reason, Tandy feels that that is important and she quickly wants to look at that information. It's quickly doing a bit of an analysis and it is sorting our employees for us as well. Now you can see there's a bunch of employees that get 40% bonus and we can ask questions all the way until we are tired of doing some descriptive analytics. But I want to also show you the capability of Copilot in Excel to do pivot tables. So I'm going to say, quickly create a pivot table for me with the annual salary by, I think I said department, business unit, gender, and perhaps ethnicity. So it takes me longer to type it than to say it, but there we go. I've typed out my prompt. In this case, the prompt is important and what you ask really does matter. And when we look at the make it stick portion of our discussion today, we'll talk a little bit about how we address that concern. And there you go. Now it created a pivot table in the panel on the right-hand side of the screen for us. Obviously, we cannot see that information there. So it gives us the option to add it to a new slide or new sheet. And there we go. All of the information is captured. If you think this pivot table does not exactly answer the needs or address the concerns that you have, at least this is a baseline and you can then edit that pivot table accordingly. Tandy needs to respond to employee concerns in Outlook. This is a created email. It is fake. Thank you, Susie, for sending this to me, for pretending to have a real problem. Susie had highlighted that she has a problem with me or with something in her team, and we are responding to it. I will go into Outlook, click on my Respond with Copilot option, and now I'm going to respond to the employee concerns. You will see I'm not typing out a proper email for Copilot. I'm telling it what I would have done and said, please respond to the concerns. Make sure that our employee Susie knows that it is a priority and suggest that we schedule a meeting to discuss her concerns. Copilot is quickly going to then draft the communication for me based on all of the information available around this message that Susie had sent. And there you can see, quick and easy, we have an email. I quickly read through it and I decide I'm not happy with it. I want to make it a bit more formal. And there we go. Copilot is going to adjust the email for me and make it more formal. So what is really cool about this is you'll also see in this example that I can regenerate as many times as I want until I find something that kind of suits the tone that I want to have it at. Here I'm going to say, I'm actually happy with this one. Let's keep it. I am not Nicola Bezuidenhout in this example. I am Thandi. You cannot edit it here. You have to keep the message and then you can edit it. So now I can be Thandi. You'll also see that Copilot realized that my manager is Miss Amanda Alice, and it has highlighted that section for us. So it looked at the information it has available and suggested maybe we also need to include her. Now, this is my favorite part of, not yet, I am jumping the gun. Also a great part of the conversation is let's look at utilizing Copilot in Teams. I'm sorry. I am just jumping ahead. There we go. Utilizing Copilot in Teams for a webinar, for a fake meeting, as you can see at the top of the screen. I want to do a recap of what we had said. So I went into the chat of this meeting, clicked on recap, and here we can see all of the information. We have my colleague Nsiki and myself in this meeting to do the fake recording. It gives you the topics that we discussed during our fake recording or during our meeting, which is really cool. And it provides you with chapters to the meeting that you have attended as well. So in this case, I'm going to click on a section just briefly. Now you can see if I'm an outfit repeater or not, we will never know. But you can see that specific section of the chapter that we are talking about. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to go to the beginning so that you don't see us speaking throughout, because that might just distract. If we had generated notes, you would find it in that section. AI had also generated notes for us. Here you can see that Copilot had done a fantastic job of looking at exactly what we had said and recapping it for us. It gives an overview, and then underneath each section, it goes into a bit more detail for you. If you scroll down a little bit on the notes, it also tells you what are the follow-up tasks that you need to take for that meeting. So we have the collaboration tools that we have discussed specifically. It's introducing some collaboration tools, etc. And it tells you what we actually have to do, which is critical. We will no longer walk away from meetings without having next steps. In the mentions, whenever someone had said a name, Nsiki had said Nicola quite a few times, and it shows there the mention. And we can also click on the transcript to show you exactly everything that has been said. For the Copilot section, I've asked it a few questions earlier. So I said, what are the action items? Because I wanted to clarify that they're the same. I also said, provide me a list of the people that we mentioned in this meeting. We created a few people to discuss. So we have Timber and Friday and Alma, and all of this is listed as well. But now I'm going to ask Copilot, please tell me the tone of this meeting. Sometimes when we're not there and we didn't attend a meeting, we don't want to listen to the whole meeting to realize what had happened, but you almost want to get a feel of what exactly this meeting was all about. And here in Copilot, in Teams, you can just quickly pop it a message and it will tell us that the tone was mostly professional and respectful. So I'm thankful that we can at least pretend to be respectful and professional when we fake meetings. So that's really cool. However, during the meeting, Nsiki had mentioned that he was frustrated and exhausted. You can also see that at the bottom of your screen, there is an option with a little number that you can hover over, and that will tell you where in the meeting this information is being pulled from. So that is a day in the life of our friend Thandi. If you have a quick look with me, I think the whole end-to-end demo was about 20 minutes to go through 6 action items, which I believe, if I had to do it myself, I'm not in HR, it would have taken me 2 days to complete all of the activities on Thandi's list, whereas now we had quickly done it in a matter of seconds. So I'm going to now quickly move on over into a next poll where we are going to ask you something again about Copilot. So now that you know more about Copilot, you've seen it, how do you feel about Microsoft Copilot now? Are you excited? Do you feel indifferent still? I think for me, at least, I would say this is my new tech soulmate. That might be a lie. I was telling my team earlier that Copilot in Teams is only the second best feature that ever landed up in Teams, right after the soft blur functionality on our videos. But that one is just, I think, for me. But I really do love Copilot, and I do think that it makes a massive impact on the way that we work. So now that we know everything that there is to know about Copilot, I hope that you're asking yourself, how do we make this stick? How do we use this within our employees? How do we bring it to our people and make sure that whatever we need to do is successful? So why Copilot and not any of the other generative AI information or tools that are out there? So in a study conducted by Microsoft in June 2023, it was found that employees want AI-powered chat, but companies have data security and privacy concerns. So 92% of technical professionals and business decision makers say that they have used or tried an AI tool for services. Employees using AI-powered chat through public web services are putting the corporate data at risk. And some large corporations are actually discouraging the employees from using AI tools because they're afraid of data leakage risks. So why then use Copilot? As Marina had mentioned right at the beginning of our conversation, with Copilot for Microsoft 365, you can empower your users to do their best work, enabling them to be more creative and be more productive, all within the safe, reliable, trusted environment of Microsoft. So nobody outside of your organization gets access to the information that is within Copilot. And all of the same data security rules that apply to everything within your Microsoft environment also applies to Copilot. Granted, within this, there is a bit of a caveat that you need to make sure that your content is structured the way that it should be to allow employees the full freedom of use within Copilot. You've heard earlier that I said, I cannot access this information because Copilot on my side is set up so that I will not show corporate information. So how do we help you to make sure that the right person has access to the right information? This is where Mint comes in. Our Copilot approach is essentially a three-phased approach. During our first phase, we say we get ready. It's not Mint that gets ready, it's helping our employees, our customers get ready. Then we deploy Copilot to your end users, and then we enable an expand portion or component of Copilot. So what does that mean? Let's look at it in detail. Get ready is where we make sure that your content and your Microsoft 365 tenant is ready for Copilot. Here we do an audit of all of the information that lives within your tenant. We look at your SharePoint, Teams, are people using OneDrive? Let's look at meetings. There is a whole host of information. We are actually currently busy with a really cool initiative, and my team had showed me earlier that throughout our analysis, it gives you a security score with your data. So in all of the analysis that we do, we can tell you, based on what we found, these are the possible risks that live in your space. Then we help you with a remediation plan. So we tell you, this is the potential risk that you currently have if you give your employees Copilot. What can happen? What issues could you potentially encounter? And then after that, we help you to execute that remediation plan based on a few hours that we have set aside. And we tell you which tasks to take to make sure that your data is as secure as possible and that the right people can see the right information within the Copilot space, which I believe is very important to make sure that your employees have the full freedom of using Copilot as their productivity tool. Then we deploy Copilot. So we make sure that your people really understand what Copilot is all about so that they can get the maximum value out of it. Earlier, when Marina spoke about the personal assistant versus our digital personal assistant, for some of us, we're very excited about it and we can't wait. We are ecstatic to think that I no longer have to spend hours and hours analyzing content in Excel. Whereas for other people, they might be a bit fearful and they might not really want to relinquish that control to someone else. And so we need to have a full-fledged approach to make sure that our employees that are excited about Copilot also understand that we are at the top of the hype curve and that maybe Copilot cannot do every single thing that they think it can do, while still maintaining their excitement and giving them the power of the tool. And then for our employees that maybe are fearful, we need to help them overcome that fear, help them understand why Copilot is really beneficial for them, how it can help them, and enable them to use that Copilot to the best of their ability. So that is what happens during the deploy phase. We really look at your people. And then in the expand phase, now that we've entrenched Copilot and your users have adopted it, we need to make sure that we properly expand the Copilot footprint within your organization by integrating into other systems and data within your Microsoft 365 ecosystem. Here we look at graph connectors and plugins. Another really cool tool that we can look at is Copilot Studio, where you can create your own custom Copilots to point to information and data within your environment and even on the internet. I was going to say in the internets, on the internet, where you can really look at information and draw that information to make your Copilot as powerful as you need it within your space. So that is also a really cool functionality that we are looking at once we have entrenched it. So for our employees, let's have a bit of a quick look at what that digital enablement Copilot roadmap looks like. So once we are in the deploy phase, what can people expect to see? I don't believe that we are as unique as we would want ourselves to be in saying that we follow a phased approach during project implementation. Our first phase is to plan, then we execute, we go live, and we reinforce. During the planning phase, here we identify all of the stakeholders that are going to be impacted by the implementation of Copilot. For some organizations, it might be every single one of their employees. For other organizations, it might be a handful of people. Regardless, the get ready phase needs to be executed properly. If you are turning on Copilot for 5 people or 500 people, your content needs to be ready for everything to work properly and so that we ensure security of data. During the plan phase, when we have identified our stakeholders, we also map user personas. So we group stakeholders together so that we can understand what is important for specific people within the who will use Copilot. How can we enable them? How can we give them everything that they need to be successful and strong to utilize the content in their space? Then we draft a communication plan for them and we plan an awareness campaign. During the communication plan, we highlight your communication channels that you can use to share information with the various personas. And we make sure that we draft targeted communication for all of the personas impacted so that they really can start to understand the benefit of Copilot. During our awareness campaign, we have virtual awareness Copilot sessions, or some people might call it a lunch and learn session or a coffee session. You can call it whatever you want to. The essence is that we have an informal chat with everybody involved with the implementation so that they can ask their questions and raise their concerns. And here we help them to understand what is this all about and how can I really benefit from it. And then we go into the awareness campaign. Our awareness campaign is executed in parallel with everything that we do. And during the awareness campaign, we really make sure that we don't just share an email every now and then and think that that would be good enough. We have some videos, some engagement sessions. We will establish a champion network, depending on your environment, to make sure that we really grow the awareness of Copilot and get people excited about it, because it is really cool. And maybe people just don't know it yet. Then we have a training plan. Your employees are only as going to use it as much as they feel comfortable with it, and we will help them feel comfortable by creating awareness, but also creating the ability to use Copilot. In our training plan, here is where we have that prompt generation workshops. I'm not fluid in saying this yet, but in my mind, I'm thinking knowledge used to be power, but maybe the new power is asking better questions, because everybody can have knowledge. Anybody can Google information, but we need to move into a space where we're not just enabling people with more knowledge, but we're enabling people to ask the right questions so that they can get the better responses. So during our prompt generation workshops, we show them very basically how to actually get to Copilot within your various programs. Obviously, with the Copilot, it's fairly intuitive, and there's a button on the navigation pane of every single one of your applications, which makes it fantastic. But now that you know how to get there, how do I actually ask the right questions? What do I need to ask to get the information? And how do I point to different files perhaps within the space? during my demo, you would have seen that I created a presentation based on a file within our environment. I can't just ask it to do that. There's some little nuances in getting PowerPoint to know where that file is and to utilize that file. And so we need to teach people. How do you do that? Well, prompt generation workshop, that's how we teach people. Then we do some basic functionality how-to videos. And this really is just about getting people to understand how to access information, how to get to things quicker and easier, it's fairly intuitive for us who use it every day. But if you're not used to it and you're not familiar with it, maybe you're going to need some reminders and refreshers every now and then. We also have quick reference guides that we use then to reinforce what we've learned. It's easy to see something once and think that now I can do it, but the average person, I think, needs it 7 times at least, that they need to hear something or see something new before it sticks in their mind. And so we give them that quick reference guide so that they can refer back to their learnings afterwards. Something that's not on the screen, but something that we are working on is then having Copilot masterclasses. Specifically, if you're looking at Copilot Studio and having that into your space, we can enable your team to set up their own Copilots. And how can we do that? And how do we structure those masterclasses to really get the most out of your Copilot environment? Something that's really exciting, I think, for Marina and myself is drafting the unique use cases for people. So we've identified the personas already. But now we're looking at each specific persona or user group, and we're asking them, in your environment, how are you going to use this new tool? And we're helping them to not just think abstractly about, yes, I can hypothetically use Copilot to summarize meetings, but which meetings are routine meetings that you would want to summarize? And we teach them for that specific meeting, how would you go about that? Obviously, what they learn is transferable and it can be used across any of the Copilot meetings that you want to summarize. But in that space, let's teach you on one specific thing and you can grow your knowledge from there on out. And then we do some on-demand training where we have the champion network that we've spoken about. They can reach out to us and say, listen, we actually want to know a bit more. We have some questions. Let's feel enabled to have a look at that. And I think that is, in a nutshell, what is Copilot? How does it look and how does it feel? And then finally, how do we make it stick into our space? I want to thank every single person who attended our meeting today. Please reach out to the Mint team if you want to become Copilot ready and ready with Mint. We really are very passionate and excited about Copilot and what it can do for you in your environment. So I know that Claire is going to share a link that will point you to a quick analysis that you can do for Copilot. And so I think that is everything from our side. Are there any questions? Claire, I know you've been looking at it on the side.
Thank you, Nicola. Yes, we have 2 questions. The first question is from Marcel. Marcel has asked, out of curiosity, was Copilot or another AI tool used to create your webinar talking points and presentation for today?
That is a fantastic question. So, in fact, yes, I used Copilot to help me create the day on the life of structure. So I said, please go, it was in a normal Word document, and give me 6 points of things that a human resource manager might do throughout the day. And it gave me an outline, and I've completed it and filled it out a little bit just to make it a bit easier for me to actually know what to present on. Because I'm not a human resource manager and I don't know what they do on a day-to-day. So yeah, thank you, Claire.
Thanks, Nicola. Next question is from Zizi. He has asked, is Copilot part of the Microsoft 365 package or does it require a separate license?
So as far as I'm aware, Copilot does require an additional license. Last count, the license for an individual user is $30, I think, per month. So we do know that is a hefty fee, and that's why we place so much attention on making sure that when we do implement Copilot and we do make it live in your space, people really use it and they get the full benefit out of it. I think the question the question that you have to ask yourself isn't what is the cost associated with my license. the question that you should ask yourself is, how much money do we save by making people more productive in doing what they're supposed to be doing, instead of being busy with perhaps something that's a bit more administrative and busy work? And maybe you can justify that cost then for yourself. Okay.
Thanks, Nicola.
Is that it?
We have one more question, a question from Jacques. It says, Mint Coastal is currently helping us with the Dynamics 365 implementation. Do I automatically have access to the Copilot's knowledge base articles?
Yeah, so I think, Jock, what you're referring to is our Copilot deploy phase. The deploy phase is something that we have a different offering for, and I would believe that you need to have a bit of a negotiation chat with Mint Coastal to see how we can also give you access to all of that knowledge base and the information we have in that space.
Great. Thanks, Nicola. That's all the questions we have.
All right.
Actually, sorry, there's a few more that have just come in. Sorry.
No problem.
Desmond has asked, does Microsoft offer formal training for Copilot?
Desmond, as far as I am aware, and please know that I'm speaking under correction, Copilot is still fairly fresh and new in the environment. And so I haven't seen any official formal training for Copilot yet. And most of it is being done through the partnership network that Microsoft has in place.
Great. Nick has asked, how many languages is Copilot available in?
Nick, I will have to double check for you and get back to you on that one. I'm actually not 100% sure the languages for Copilot.
Perfect. And then last question from Paul, can Copilot be used for data sources outside of the Microsoft 365 environment?
Absolutely.
With data sources, yes.
Yes, so it can absolutely be used. When I spoke about the expand phase of our implementation, here we help you to ensure that you set up all of the information properly and have the correct APIs and connectors. And I have to be careful so that I don't step in technical jargon, because I'm going to get myself into trouble. But we can really help you to make sure that all of the information and data in your network can be introduced into your Copilot experience. With regards to information that is available on the internet, if you want to use that to build collateral and to drive collateral, that's also something absolutely that you can use. However, it is based on how you structure and set up your environment. So during our get ready phase, we will advise you on how to protect your security and give people access to information. I know some of our customers within the financial industry have completely blocked their Copilots to look at the internet because they view it as a security risk. But it's really dependent on what you want to use it for. And I see someone in the meantime have commented that Copilot is available on 8 languages. So, and there you have it. Thank you for our network of knowledge sharers, I think. Claire, anything else?
No, I think we have covered them all. Thanks, Nicola.
In that case, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for giving us the time of day. We really appreciate every single person who attended. And we look forward to engaging with you all on Copilot and making it a success in your environment.